From an offensive line standpoint, I always talk to the offensive line when I get a chance because you guys don't get a whole lot of credit for everything that is done. How's this offensive line come together? You've had a couple of injuries here or there, but it seems like you guys week by week are getting better.
Yeah, we've got better all around. We've moved people around. We've created basically the strongest line we've had this whole year, and we're ready for KOKOMO.
You played at center last week, and you told me before we started you know all 5 spots, so it really wasn't anything big, but I thought you played really well. Talk about moving over to center and really having what I considered a very good game.
Yeah, moving from right tackle to center, I wouldn't say it's difficult, but you have to change your whole mentality, who you're blocking, where you're going. You have to know where you're double teaming, who you're double teaming with, to who, and so far.
Yeah, Coach, he really said a lot of nice things about the way you played last week, and I think he kind of sees the way that your value is to move in all 5 spots. Talk about that, knowing all 5 spots and knowing that, at any time you could move somewhere else.
Yeah, I just know if someone goes down, and if like Jake Jones goes down, I can go right there. So we just keeps it strong.
Did you go back to last week and Friday, and I know you guys were disappointed and almost pulled out the win there, but you heard me talk to Bryce too. It seems like you guys have the ability to shrug that off, come back the next week and play better. What does that say about this football team?
Yeah, our culture is totally different from last year. We have better senior leaders. Leadership all around is better, and we have that mentality going into this week.
Running the football, those guys last week, you opened up some big holes for the young running backs. Talk about that aspect of it, and I'm sure they feel more comfortable when they're getting the football knowing you guys are doing your job up front.
Yeah, and with I can't remember his name.
Who are you thinking about?
DeMarco.
Okay. Yeah.
DeMarco being a freshman and him having those 2 big runs right off the bat, it really made him feel better about himself, to where he could actually see the holes and run through the little holes when we didn't have the big holes there.
It sounds like from what Bryce said, you guys got to kind of slow them down a little bit and follow the blocks and not get ahead of you guys, right?
Yeah. Because last week we had 2 newer running backs, and last week we had a totally different line, and our pullers were a little slower last week, but now we got it figured out. Where last week we would have our running back in front of our pullers, and that don't work. Yeah. So,
hey, from a pass blocking standpoint too, you got to be effective there because you guys are throwing the football as much. Talk about the difference, and is it a little bit more difficult being a pass blocker than a rush blocker, or do you kind of find both equal?
Personally, I find them equal. The only thing with pass blocking is you get to set up first. Where running back blocking, you just have to go at them, and they can either move both sides of the side. But when you're pass blocking, you're ready for their movement.
It doesn't seem like you're giving up very many sacks. If the quarterback gets out of the pocket, that's one thing. But when he's in the pocket, you're protecting him pretty well.
Yeah, we had last week. We had a pretty good offensive line even without Blaine, and that's saying something because Blaine really good. Yeah. So with him being out and we did that good, it kind of boosted our mentality of the offensive lines too. So we're just striving to do better every week.
You talk about KOKOMO and what do you see in them on Friday? And again, we've talked about with a couple other players just about you really don't know what they're going to be doing quarterback-wise, but you've seen them before just in a different style of offense. What about the change in their style?
We faced multiple spread teams this year. I don't think we've faced really one wing T. So this way we're actually prepared for the spread more than the wing T. So we feel confident with that, and they're big.
So you don't mind not seeing the wing T this year, right?
No, I like seeing the spread because we're more ready for the spread than we are with the wing T.
From one standpoint, I know you want to win on Friday, but is it more important just to play well, whether you win or lose, and make sure you have plenty of momentum going into the tournament next week?
Yeah, because even as Coach said, Connersville had 10 weeks to prepare, so we need this to be a really good game. So we have that mentality going into next week's practice. So we're not walking in there like, oh, we're going to beat them again. But they've also had 10 weeks, so we've had 10 weeks.
Yeah, and both teams going to be completely different. So it's all like playing a brand new game, isn't it?
Yeah, because Connersville, their game last week, they were looking really good, and we looked pretty good, but they were facing a really good team, and they did really good. So.